Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you've been following my channel, you already have seen my previous video how I winterized or winterproofed, let's say that, winterproofed my vehicle. I added a trickle charger and it's connected to the same power supply which is built right here on my bumper. So I just plug it in and that power plug is supplying power to the trickle charger, so it's recharging my batteries during the very cold winter night or day. And from the same plug I connected the block heater, so it's warming up my coolant. I also modified this circulating pump, so every time my block heater is plugged in and every time my trickle charger is plugged in, this circulating pump also going to circulate that coolant going through my heater core. So I will have a slightly faster warm air coming out from my dashboard. And I also added one more heating element that's in line from the return line of the heater core. I added one more heating element, pretty powerful one, so I don't have to wait until my coolant is going to be warm from only one heating element. I have two of them, and instead of waiting for 6-7 hours until my coolant reaches 40 Celsius, let's say that, I need to wait only 2-3 hours because I have two of those heaters. Obviously taking a little bit more power, but I don't have to wait for that long. Now I want to go one step further and I want to copy a Toyota design and install their favorite brand in-cab heater, which is this one. This one came exactly from Toyota. I got it for a really attractive price of $75. And this one made by DEFA? Yeah, DEFA, I believe, yes. And this is a European brand that making really high quality heating components for the northern states or northern countries like Sweden and Norway. So anyway, Toyotas, they give you option if you want to pay extra, I believe $1,500, you can have this in-cab heater installed, and this is the actual location where they install it on their Toyotas, exactly how you see it right here. So as soon as I've seen their design, I decided, well, I want to have exactly the same one, and I was looking for one on a Facebook market, and I got one. And I'm going to install it at the same spot because I'm not going to sacrifice any space. I have exactly so much room right here, and it's not going to be on my way. It's running from 110 volts, and I'm going to connect it to those two wires through the extension cord. So I'm going to cut off this plug and either hardwire it or maybe even solder it directly to the extension cord and connect to the same power supply. So every time I'm going to plug in my vehicle, I'm going to have a 10, both of those 10s, or one of them if I want to. I can unplug one of them. So while I'll have those coolant 10s heating, warming up my coolant to have a warm engine, and I don't have to wait that long for get warm air from the dashboard anymore. Like last winter I had to wait up to 6-7 minutes before I can feel some hot air coming from the dashboard. Now with this heater I don't have to wait, and I'll have a more pleasant drive as soon as I enter the vehicle after a cold night. So I'm going to run that extension underneath of the dashboard and connect it to that power supply. Let's see how this is going to happen. Okay, so next step is running this extension cord, which is going to be plugged in right there at the junction box. I'll show you later on. And another end I will need to run through the firewall. If you have the same vehicle as I do, which is a Mercedes ML W163, if you look closely right there on the left side of the brake booster, you will see lights going through a hole. So I left a flashlight so that you can see where it's located. This is really smart design, and there is a rubber grommet with an additional hole, future hole that can be punched, and I am going to use that option to insert the wire through that grommet. This is how it is going to look like from the inside. Once you remove this plastic cover, here's my flashlight, and this is the grommet that I'm talking about, and there is a hole behind. So once I'm going to punch the hole through this nipple, then I'll be ready to install this grommet back in place into that oval spot, a hole. And then I'm going to run wires over the top of the pedals, zip tie it so nothing is going to interfere or rub against any object, and run it through this HVAC from underneath. From the behind there's lots of room. I'm going to fish that wire so I can reach it from the other hand and connect it to a heater. Okay, so I decided to run that extension cord closer to this pipe, not underneath of the radiator, because if I ever need to remove radiator, I don't have to remove that wire. There is a splash rubber cover, so that extension cord plug go through that splash guard. There is another one right here, so I just ran it through that splash guard. Now here I zip tie it to one of the hoses, power steering hoses, and then there is a room in between that metal shield and the fuse box, like a 1-inch gap. So I just ran that cable through that, behind that metal shield, and zip tie it to this wiring harness, so nothing is wobbling or rubbing against any objects, and the wire went through that grommet. And let me show you from the inside. This is how it looks like when it's all installed. So everything is watertight and airtight as before. Just one extra wire going tightly through that grommet. Now I'm going to run it over the top of the pedals and to the heater. Okay, so now I have my wire coming here, and I'm ready to connect to my heater. Unfortunately, I don't have a matching male plug that as a factory design, and I'm not going to look for one, so I had to cut it off. And I was thinking about hardwiring by soldering them together, but in the last minute I decided to use those click type connectors in case I ever need to work on my dashboard or HVAC system and I need to remove this heater. So I simply unlock it, each one of those orange lock tabs, and unplug each wire. Well, obviously I'm going to wrap it around with electrical tape, and those connectors, they are designed for a single solid copper wire, and this one is a soft multiple thin wires, so that's why I solder it. As you can see, I have a soldering iron, and I solder it. I applied some of the lead on each end for better connection. Now it's a matter of installing this bracket at any angle that I want with a couple screws, and we'll see how it's going to work. Okay, this is how it looks like after I secured it. Pretty slim design, doesn't take much space, pretty much same angle as Toyota recommending, and exactly same location. So if I want this heater to warm up my cabin before I go home, I have to leave it on position. Now here I have a remotely controlled plug that I can set to turn on automatically each morning, couple hours before work, or I can do it manually by pushing on button with this remote fob, and you see green light comes on. So I would have to wake up at 6 AM and from my house window push on button. Once this button is on, it's going to supply power to this junction box that have 5 individual plugs. One plug is going to a trickle charger. That's why you see a red light, because it's charging battery right now. I can always unplug that trickle charger if I don't want to charge my battery, but it's good to have, especially in really cold climate, to make sure that you're going to start your vehicle when it's minus 40. Now, second plug is going to the OEM block heater, which is invisible from here, but it's on the bottom of the water pump. It's working well, but it takes about 5-6 hours to warm up the engine, and then it's going to maintain the temperature even if you want to leave it plugged in for longer than 5 hours. But if you want to have if you want to warm up your engine faster than 6 hours, you better install this inline extra circulating heating element like I did. So this one is connected to the return line from the heater core, and by having both of them, I can warm up engine in 2 hours at any temperature. And I can unplug this heater from here or from that junction box also. So that's number 3. Number 4 would be the 12 volt supply for this circulating pump that is, during this plug-in setup, is also going to circulate coolant through the heater core. And number 5 would be the in-cab heater, which is working right now. And let's see how hot it's blowing. Well, if you look at the top corner, you will see that it's blowing with 82, 81 Celsius, which is really hot. Even hotter than dashboard vents when the engine is hot. So all of the windows are going to be defrosted, and snow or ice will melt down during this period when you're warming up your engine. Now, this in-cab heater is rated to work between 2 and 4 hours maximum. And in my case, it's good because I never warm my engine for longer than 2 hours, because I have both heaters, block heaters, and 2 hours is enough. So that will work perfectly in my case. If you want to set up a temperature plug, which is going to kick in automatically when the temperature drops below -10, for example, then I would not recommend to install it, because if the temperature will drop -10 at 1 a.m. and you go into work at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m., then during those 7 hours warming up period, your engine is going to be hot, and those components are going to handle those 7 hours, no problem. Your circulating pump is going to do the job, but your in-cab heater is rated to work maximum up to 4 hours, so it might fail. I don't know if it's thermally protected. Most likely it's going to turn off when it's so hot inside of the cabin, and then it's going to kick in automatically. I hope so. Actually, I should read about that before I started to make this video, but most of the in-cab heaters, they have this function. But to be on the safe side, I would not leave it on for longer than 4 hours. That's why I don't recommend to use a temperature controlled plug, but set it yourself, or for 5-6 a.m. or push the button with the remote. By the way, this remote is really nice. I love it. My car is on the back alley, and I can control it from any room of my house, and it turns on without any issues. Okay, well, I hope you like my setup, and you can copy that just like I did, a copy from Toyota, from that Comfort Plus package. Actually, it's not completely a copy from them, because they have a more fancy or luxury package than that, because they have the special module that is connected to that, let's say, junction box, and you can connect your cell phone to that module. So from your house, you can disconnect each component individually from your cell phone. So you can turn off trickle charger, or when the temperature reaches really hot inside of the cabin, you can turn it off from the cell phone. Really nice feature. Maybe if I'll have a chance to buy one of those modules for really good price, I can install it here, but for now I will be doing it manually as before. On my next video I'm going to show you how to install oil pressure gauge so you can monitor health of your engine in the winter time and in the summertime. You can see the pressure after you change the oil, and before you're going to change the oil, what's the difference in the pressure, and maybe you will decide that you want to change oil sooner than 5,000 kilometers between oil changes, because the oil pressure is not that good, not that high anymore. Okay, well, if you click on the playlist on my channel, you will see many more interesting videos about this particular vehicle or a few other German vehicles that I work on. God bless you.